Hey guys, hi from Hanoi, Vietnam, and today we're going to have a look around a really nice part of Hanoi, around the West Lake area. It's very beautiful, so come on along, you're going to really enjoy this one. A very famous temple here, a really nice one. That's why they want you to buy a ticket for it. Look at that. We've got a ticket machine just over here on the right. Thank you. They're very nice. Thanks. So you can get a fan there. It can help actually quite a lot. Not a bad investment. It gets pretty warm at certain times of the year in Hanoi, but it's cooler than Saigon, that's for sure. But it's not a bad idea to buy a little paper fan. Really. This is where you buy the tickets in here. So, do they make Vietnamese people pay as well? Hard to say. A few places for refreshments here, some different drinks, ice cream, and so on. New pair of shoes. If you walk as much as me, you might have worn yours out already on your trip and need some new ones. If you walk as much as me, you might end up in the blooming hospital. Jeez. Been wearing myself out, but that's normal for me. So there's some places along the side here. You can get a fresh shirt, fresh suit. If your suit gets too sweaty, walking around. Some food, nice local style. That's the good stuff there. All right, so right now we're gonna go up here. There's a causeway. We're gonna have a look between two lakes. But first, we're gonna cross over here. And I'm going to show you along the side of the lake, of the main lake, which is West Lake up here. So we'll come over here first and have a look. Walk along here to show you guys a bit of a view of the West Lake from this perspective. It's a really nice spot. Lots of cafes all the way around the lake, actually. So up here there's more cafes. Of course, you can see it's a very big lake. 17 kilometers in circumference. And cafes dotted all around, but the part we're going to look at today, I think, is the best part. The Embassy of Chile is here. Good spot, very sensible. Good place for a short break there, eh? Maybe parking on the footpath isn't very polite. It's one of those problems you get in Southeast Asia a lot. People breaking the rules. Seems to be like a cultural habit in Southeast Asia. People flaunt the rules. Anyway, back to the point about the nice cool air off the water. So obviously a smart place to build something, to set up something. So we've got these really nice French buildings along the side here. They look very important. I'm sure they must have had some governmental function in the past under the French Colonial administration. And then you've got this amazing mansion here. Absolutely incredible. You see the plants growing at the top and along the sides there. This is like really faded grandeur. This is what I really love about traveling around when you see old colonial stuff like this. You get this like sense of faded grandeur. This place looks like it might have been abandoned for a long time, but I can see it's in use now. But yeah, it could do with a bit of tender loving care. Could do a lot more with this place. This is like a dream home. This would be like my fantasy home if I somehow could have a place like this in a place like this. But imagine back in the day, all the stuff going on. Obviously some important official lived in here, French one, in the colonial times, and some of them brought their wives out here, some of them didn't. But whatever, you know, the French, they have their affairs, part of their culture, right? So they'd have their local mademoiselles and courtesans and so on. Beautiful garden as well. So imagine all the stories that happened here, all these kind of dramas and all these things that were going on back in the time. Great if you were one of the richer people, but okay, if you were, and actually don't forget, if you don't know actually, of course there were high up important Vietnamese people in those times that worked in the colonial administration, or at least didn't directly oppose it, who had very nice places to live as well, in the French style, or if they preferred in the traditional Vietnamese style. So it's important not to forget that there was a multi-layered society with different types of things going on. It certainly was very complex. People like to paint simple pictures of black and white, good and bad, good guys versus bad guys. That's how people tend to think these days. It's very simplistic, very comic book style. But of course, it wasn't like that. And it's not like that in reality in the world. There are all different layers, and everyone's a little bit different, and everyone has their own wants and wishes and needs and dreams. So there are all kinds of ideas and opinions. Very important to understand it. And of course, people change their viewpoints over time as well. So it's something to remember in this polarized age that we live in, where people follow the media too much. The media is a lot more pernicious these days because it's a lot more powerful, because it has a lot more reach into people's everyday existence, of course with a smartphone, but of course with television still, traditional or internet television, streaming and so on, videos, and yeah, it's a lot more than in the old days when they just had newspapers that quite often had news that might not be quite that recent as well. This part over here is actually an elite high school. So this bit is from an old French colonial high school. You can go around the other side of the block there and have a look as well. And there are some beautiful grand buildings in there. But obviously it would have been an elite school back then, I assume. I don't know if it was a school back then, but it is now, and it's a really nice one. That'd be a fun one to go to. It's got a lot of nice buildings. This is a very cool looking building. Look at all this graffiti. I love this stuff. Very interesting. The whole building with the graffiti makes one amazing art piece, the whole thing. Looks like it might have been a kind of maybe a boat station in the past. I'm not sure about that, but probably a cafe boat station, just having a guess there. But surprising it's not used now though. It's just abandoned. But okay, it gives people a place to hang about, I suppose, if they can get through there. It's blocked off actually, but depends what time of the day or evening. I'm sure if you came past in the late night, there might not be anyone hanging around there. Who knows, they might have given someone a security guard job and for compensation let them live there. It's hard to say really. So there's some really interesting different types of cafes along here. All kinds. Very local style, sitting out on the footpath style. That's the cheapest type, of course, where you might get some coconut juice, some green tea, some other like sugarcane juice or something like that. Maybe some iced coffee, cheapest option. Then you've got some indoor ones where you might get a fan pointing at you, pay slightly more for that. And at different points around the lake, of course, there are some nice ones with air conditioning as well, if you need that. I mean, it gets pretty hot at times. It's a bit warm now. So back to the Causeway. That's where we were just a bit earlier, and we crossed over the road up there. Some more nice old French buildings here, but they put this fence up. I guess they're doing renovation. So back to the Causeway here, and we're gonna cross back over again, and hopefully without as much danger this time. And we'll go along the causeway a bit, and I'll show you some really cool historical sites along here. It's very, very interesting. And it's really nice with all the trees along here as well, with the cool air coming off the lake. Right now I feel it is lovely and cool and refreshing. You can see the trees are moving a little bit there from the breeze. All right, so we'll scramble back across here. That's where we were before. We're gonna go down this way. Alrighty, so alright, back along the way here, safely across the road this time. I guess last time it was safe as well, somehow, in a dangerous manner, but yeah, dangerously safe. Alright, so like I said earlier, there are two lakes and this causeway goes between them. So there's the main lake over here, and there's a smaller part over here, and over a very, very long time period, actually these lakes, well, they've had different names over the years, and they're connected. You can easily understand that this causeway is not natural. It was constructed by locals, I think like local fishermen or something. I remember reading a while back, something like that. I think it was just a muddy embankment at first that people would walk along and get to their little fishing spots. But yeah, over a very long time period, you see it's developed into a very nice roadway now. It's a good shortcut for people living around the lake, but not too much traffic. I've been here during rush hour, even it's not that bad at all. And it's not that noisy. Something I love about Vietnam, you notice the traffic doesn't make as much noise as in places like, for example, Jakarta in Indonesia, or other big cities in Indonesia, or Bangkok, Thailand, or you know, other bigger type places in Thailand. The buses are pretty much fairly quiet here, quite decent quality, not that old, with aircon and quite decent engines. Here's one right now, actually. Nice bus system. Hear that? Not very loud. So in these other places I mentioned, for example, they have older buses that roar, really super deafeningly loud. Cannot hear someone else you're walking with when you talk. Cannot even hear yourself thinking sometimes. Some little boats here which you can rent and come out on the smaller lake here. I think the bigger lake has some boats at some points around the lake. I'm not sure about that, but it's a very big lake though. If you got stuck out in the middle there and the weather turned really bad, I don't know what it would be like. Be alright for me, but might not be alright for some little kids or whatever. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of history around these lakes. So, they're pretty much right on the edge of the old town, old Hanoi. And so there are a lot of very nice old temples sprinkled around the edges. From when we did the little walk along the side back there, you saw there was some old French buildings, really nice ones, and some cafes. There are plenty of cafes along this side, over the other side there, on this smaller lake. And as you go around the big one, a lot more, all kinds, something to suit everyone's taste. So you've got the ancient history with some very nice, very, very old, some of the oldest temples in Hanoi are around this lake. Some are popular to visit, some are lesser known, so there's actually quite a few. Some that you might not read about online or something that you'll stumble across along the way, but a lot of history. Back in the Vietnam War, when the Americans bombed Hanoi, very famous American pilot, the son of one of the top admirals in the United States Navy, named John McCain, was shot down over Hanoi, crashed right down in here, probably right around where that blue marker is, or somewhere around between this marker and that marker, somewhere around in here. And he was hauled out of the lake with, I think it was a broken leg and 2 broken arms or something like that, definitely 3 broken limbs. Not sure exactly the configuration there, but pulled out of the lake there in agony, obviously, by the locals. They weren't very happy, unsurprisingly. And he was put into the Hoa Loa prison, which was an old French colonial prison right in the center of Hanoi, which the Americans called the Hanoi Hilton. A bunch of American prisoners were put in there. This is a monument to that event. It's a quite prestigious event for the Vietnamese to shoot him down, of course. You can see here it says USA. Let's wander along a bit further. So there's this really nice cafe here, gorgeous little cafe. Great spot to take a break up here, and some very nice trees. It's a great legacy of the French, of course, to have planted all these big old trees along the roadways that they developed during the colonial time, and you know, big respect for the Vietnamese to know what is worth saving, like baguettes, for example, certain elements of French cooking, coffee culture, a lot of the old architecture, and shady trees along the roads, which you don't see a lot of in most of Southeast Asia these days, because mostly they've been all chopped down and sold off for wood, for making furniture. Across the road here, there's one of the most famous temples in Hanoi. It's a pagoda, very, very beautiful one. We're gonna take a look at that in a second, but I want to tell you guys about ice cream. Kem. Kem means ice cream. When I first came to Vietnam in about, it was 2012, they had street sellers with little carts selling this type of thing, ice cream on a stick. You see it's 10,000 dong, coconut milk ice cream. Really, really yummy and refreshing. You can see this is actually a very old building with the old French shutters on the windows here. So I definitely recommend grab something here, or take a break around the side here where you can sit by the water. I don't see those street sellers around. They weren't around much back in the day, back then either. You'd see them once in a while, and I'd always jump and grab an ice cream on a stick, but there's still this place here, so definitely recommend that. Okay, so you can see along the side here, just a tiny bit inside, but it goes further around. There are different areas to sit. Okay, so we're gonna cross over now. All right, mission accomplished. Unlike some people, who we won't mention again, but yeah. Yum. Coconut ice. So, this is the oldest pagoda in Hanoi, called Tran Quoc or Tran Coc or something. I think the first name is probably correct. I hope so. The second one sounds a bit I don't know, to be honest, but some birds there, you can let them go free. Some fish you can let free. Probably the birds fly back here and get put back in the cage though. It's a bit sad. And a bit tricky. Oh, good ice cream. And a bit tricky. So are they charging money to get into this temple as well? Looks like it, doesn't it? I don't know. It's crowded at the entrance. Let's find out. A lot of stuff that used to be free back in 2012, you have to pay for now. Funny how that happens, eh? Maybe we can slide in through the outdoor. Okay. Nobody checking anything there. It's just everybody was following everybody else through one door when they could use both doors. Funny how people are like that, isn't it? Reminds you of certain other animal that likes to follow the group, the herd. We've seen a lot of that in recent times with human animals, haven't we? A lot of following the herd, not questioning anything. Nice shrine. Smells good. Smells like victory in the morning. And I'm talking about the smell of incense. Of course. Depends what kind of victory you're after, doesn't it? If you're after enlightenment. So they're doing a bit of renovation on the pagoda, but most of it's still visible. So let's slip around the back here of the pagoda and see what's happening. Oh, yeah. It's nice around the back side of the pagoda as well. Lovely. Old boy here cooling down, chilling out. It's a good place, young or old, to cool down and get contemplative, get into the vibe of what really matters about life and transcendence and all kinds of things. Let's head back out to the Causeway and follow the street a bit. Across the other side of the Causeway there, across the street, there's another lovely little shrine with a bridge crossing over there to this little island. Very cute. What's this one you have in your hair? It's very beautiful, huh? Make beautiful. Oi! Got a roller in her hair there. It's a bit old-fashioned, isn't it? Putting a roller in your hair. Something my grandmother used to do. It's actually kind of cool to see the old trends coming back, though, when they do come around. Everything goes in cycles or in circles, you know? Things come back into fashion. So, looks like that could be a hot tip, girls, and maybe guys, and maybe what's that temple called, that pagoda back there? What's the name of that pagoda? Something, Kwok or something? Yeah. Maybe when you come to this pagoda, you can have your curls flowing and show off a bit with the latest fashions, and yeah, it's kind of a style as well, isn't it? Let's not get into a fashion versus style argument about it though, but anyway, fashions come and go. Some bright clothes there. Must be all the rage at the moment. So this guy's doing well. How the heck did he get out there? What's that plant growing next to his legs? Looks like marijuana. Might explain something. How did he get there? Maybe from meditating at the pagoda back there so much he's mastered the art of levitation. Or the water is very shallow, or he can walk on water. Which one is it? Bit of bamboo growing along the side here if you're seeking bamboo. It's pretty cool stuff, of course. Can do a lot of stuff with it. Can make pipes, can make scaffolding to build buildings, can slice thin slivers and insert them between people's fingernails to extract information in a rather nasty way. But we won't go into that. We said earlier we would not talk about stuff like that anymore. It's a lovely clean lake, isn't it? Okay, not quite perfectly clean along here, so okay, not the day for swimming. What happened to my car? Bloody heck. Park my bloody car for 5 minutes and look what happens. Okay, so you can see that they could do a bit more tidying up still. Oh, public toilets here. We could do a bit more tidying up still around the neighborhood. But okay, it's got a bit of a gritty edge around this edge of the lake as we head away from the old town a little bit. But like I said earlier, the West Lake area is in vogue currently these days for foreigners, for expats, to look for places to live. Hello, shoppy food, collectibles. See, look, they try to make it high-so, but then the neighborhood's pretty dirty around here. Where's the rubbish collectors when you need them, eh? It's getting a bit dirty, isn't it? Bloody hell. He doesn't care, he's here for 5 minutes. He's gonna take lots of photos that make it look perfect for his Instagram account. Isn't that great? Because Instagram, you know, it's like makes the world look perfect. Ah, it's good to dream. Anyway, I'm happy to be here and grateful for the opportunity. Here's a nice wee cafe. Looks like it's got aircon. There's some nice cafes along here, that's for sure. So there's a little side part just here. It's like a little island connected with another causeway. And then you can follow this road further along the main side of the lake. So just as you come into the causeway of the little island here, there's this cool little shrine. It's lovely. Alright guys, so thanks for coming along on this walk around West Lake, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. So if you haven't already, please click subscribe and like and hit the bell button, would be really great. Drop us a comment, would love to hear from you guys, it'd be really cool. And yeah, that's it for today. See you in the next one, and don't be late. Don't know what they call these in Vietnamese, but I have to give it some. This is for you.
So sweet.
Have a beautiful day.
Oh, you too.
Thanks a lot. Okay.